My dream was always to live by a beautiful, serene lake. I worked my whole life for it, and finally, I bought a house right on the water. It was perfect. I had my own little boat, and every morning I'd take it out for a peaceful ride. The tranquility was everything I had hoped for. But that peace was shattered one sunny afternoon by a knock on my door. Standing there was a woman with a clipboard and an air of self-importance that just screamed trouble. She introduced herself as Margaret, the president of the local homeowners association. I smiled politely, but her first words wiped that smile right off my face. She pointed a perfectly manicured finger at my boat, which was docked at my private pier. "That boat needs to be moved immediately," she said, her voice dripping with condescension. "And you need to join the HOA. We have rules about what's allowed on our lake." I was taken aback. "Your lake?" I asked, trying to keep my cool. "I'm sorry, I think there's a misunderstanding. This is my property," Margaret just scoffed. "The HOA owns this lake," she insisted. "Everyone who lives around it is a member and pays dues. You're no exception." I calmly explained that my property deed included the lakefront and that I wasn't part of her HOA. I had no intention of moving my boat from my own dock. Margaret's face turned a shade of red I didn't know was possible. "We'll see about that," she hissed before storming off. I thought that would be the end of it. Oh, how wrong I was. The very next day, I had 2 police officers at my door. Margaret stood behind them, looking smug. She had called them, claiming I was trespassing on HOA property. I patiently showed the officers my property documents, which clearly outlined my ownership of the land and the attached water rights. The officers were professional and understanding. After reviewing my papers, they turned to Margaret and explained that this was a civil matter, not a police issue, and that from what they could see, I was well within my rights. Margaret was furious. Her plan had backfired spectacularly, and the public humiliation was just beginning for her. You'd think she would let it go, but Margaret was obsessed. A few days later, flyers appeared all over the neighborhood. Urgent community meeting. The lake trespasser problem. She was trying to turn the whole community against me. The night of the meeting, the community hall was packed. Margaret stood at the podium, painting me as some villain who was defying the community and disrespecting their shared resources. She went on and on about the HOA's fishing club and the dues they collected to maintain their lake. When she finally finished her dramatic speech, all eyes turned to me. I walked up to the front, carrying a small box of documents. I let the silence hang in the air for a moment before I started. "Hello everyone," I began, my voice calm and steady. "My name is Oliver. I'm the lake trespasser Margaret has been telling you about." I then pulled out a large, detailed map from the box. It was the original plat map for the entire area, dating back decades. I pinned it up for everyone to see. "Margaret is right about one thing," I said, pointing to the map. "Someone does own this lake." I then traced a large area on the map with my finger, an area that included every single house in the HOA and the entire lake itself. "And that person," I continued, pulling out the official title deed, "is me." A collective gasp went through the room. The silence was deafening. Margaret's jaw was on the floor. Her face went from red to ghost white. I explained that my grandfather had purchased the entire tract of land, including the lake, many years ago. He sold off plots for houses to be built, but he never sold the lake. When he passed away, it was left to me. The HOA had been formed by residents years later, completely unaware that the lake they were building their community around was private property. They had no legal right to it whatsoever. Then I dropped the final bombshell. "So all those fishing dues you've been paying to the HOA," I said, looking around the room. "The HOA has been illegally collecting money for access to my private property." The room erupted into chaos. People were shouting, demanding answers from Margaret, who looked like she wanted the ground to swallow her whole. She had no defense. The proof was right there in black and white. In the aftermath, the HOA was in shambles. Margaret resigned in disgrace, and the organization had to deal with the fallout of their illegal collections. I immediately evicted the HOA's fishing club from my property. But I wasn't a monster. I sent a letter to all the residents. I told them I had no intention of closing off the lake. Anyone who wanted to fish, swim, or boat was welcome, as long as they were respectful of the property and the environment. No dues, no fees, just a simple request to be good neighbors. My life on the lake is peaceful again. The residents are friendlier than ever, and the sense of community is genuine now, not forced by rules and fees. I asserted my rights, but I also chose to be generous. Sometimes, standing up for yourself doesn't just benefit you, it can bring a whole community together in the right way. Thanks for listening to my story. If you enjoyed it, please hit that like button and subscribe for more. See you next time.